And the next thing I want to talk about are creating data definitions and how we can use these. Now, data definitions are set up under our risk analysis area, and that is by way of reports and searches, and then risk analysis, risk mitigation tools. And there's a long, long list there, but we're going to head into our comparison data. We start with nothing right out of the box. We don't know the data you necessarily need to compare. So we're going to go ahead and add a new definition. This is all for running metrics and performing updates based on the data, but we're going to define how the data is being compared and all the rules that the system uses to gather. This includes, of course, since we are looking strictly at numeric fields, we need a numeric field so we can get our mean, median, min, max, range, and standard deviation based on the number of records and the variety of rules that we've set up. So these are useful as we go through. We select our fields, we select our values for those fields, and we select the rules around them for when we want to provide those comparisons. And we can see that this particular example has 11 records assigned to it, and we have all of our numeric values. And the first thing I want to do is talk briefly about those real-time alerts. So I'm going to head into reports and searches, risk analysis, and risk mitigation tools. It gives me a rough score based on a variety of metrics that I work with inside of CobbleStone on a regular basis, such as how many counterparties have I added in the last 60 days? So it's not giving me a positive score for this. So very simple things all the way down to items that are significantly more complex. See, so we've got our risk assessment profiler mapper, AI and machine learning, and that's where we're going to stop, and then our text mining. So if we head into our AI and machine learning, we can see that we can run an individual one-off sort of test. Please don't ask me what any of these tests are actually for. I was a high school English teacher and not a maths or statistics teacher for a reason. These go over my head, but they may be very useful for someone who does understand statistics. But the real beauty that I like out of here are my definitions and my warnings. If I added a definition, and I'm just going to go in and take one of these for example, I will grab my amount for MSA, and I'm going to edit this as if we were adding a new one. So the first thing I need to do is select my module. This is my contract details. Then what am I looking at? What numeric field do I want from there? I want my contract amount. What conditions am I working with? I want to take a look at the contract amount for all of my master service agreements. So I set that rule on up. If I wanted to set up an additional rule, I could do so by selecting the field and then selecting any of that information about that field. But this is sufficient for me. I want to compare all of my MSAs. How frequently do I want to run this comparison? Now, we start on daily. I don't think I necessarily run so many master service agreements that I need it to run every day, but it can't hurt, so I'm going to leave it there. I could choose to move it to hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly, and then set the frequency, or even run on every weekday, which that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm just going to change that to every weekday and go to next. So I give it a very brief name, I give it a very brief description, and I have my yes/no active switch. And that's all I need to run my calculations. So I've set up my definition. If I wanted to take a look at the items as they've run, here is every run that we see going back quite some ways. 314 times this particular process is run. And I can see how many records, mean, median, min, max, range, mode, and standard deviation.